We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes!
Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Yo, we're back.
Yeah.
We got the band
up,
back
dudes?
together. What's going on?
What up, dude?
What's up, guys?
Chilling. Living
Nice
the
to be
dream.
back. Nice to be
Hell
back.
yeah.
What
Hell
up?
yeah.
What? Listen, it's good to be back. There's a lot of off-season drama that I didn't think we'd be talking about this time, but listen, I had to go brotherly shove shirt tonight because the news comes out that plays at least around for another year. So
You ain't getting rid of it. Not today.
not at all. Listen, but we got tons of off-season drama. Where you all want to start? Because there's been a little but a lot all at the same time. What do you think?
Bunch of stuff to unpack, Don. Fire him off, bud. Fire him off.
Let's go. Here we go. Well, because today is Leap Day, and
Yes,
we're
sir.
not going to do another show at least. This is for at least another 4 years. Who's the player with new coordinators coming in that takes the biggest leap forward?
Ooh. Devontae Smith.
Let's go out.
All day, twice on Sunday. Devontae Smith is going to go buck wild this year. I'm calling it. My wide receiver one, baby. My wide receiver one, Devontae Smith. Smooth, slim himself is going to have a monster year. This is where you separate the men from the boys. And I think Kellen Moore's offense is going to help him get that done.
Rich, what's the biggest thing that Kellen Moore is going to do?
Utilize the middle of the field, get them in space, and they're going to run non-high school routes.
There you go.
Okay.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun to see an NFL offense. So I'm looking forward to that.
Joe, who you got on offense? Who's the guy that takes the biggest leap forward with the new coordinator?
Yeah, piggybacking off the whole middle of the field topic, let's go with our boy Dallas Goedert, huh? Dalton Schultz and Jarwin down there in Dallas with Kellen Moore did pretty well, when he was down there running things. So I think, they showed, it's crazy. They did like a comparison, going back to the wide receiver thing, a route tree of Keenan Allen versus Devontae Smith's route tree with our coordinator from this year. And it's like almost triple the amount of routes that are in his arsenal. So, you're going to see guys anywhere and everywhere, which is the way it should be. So,
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Listen,
I still think we need another time.
Well, listen, Rich, this is about that time where you might want to see them draft the next tight end, because this is actually a little bit later than when they drafted Goddard when Ertz was around. So it would not surprise me at all if they address that in this draft and they pick up, I don't know how early you go in. I think there's a lot of other needs, which we can talk about a little bit later, that you definitely have to address before you get to, the next tight end. But I really do think that that's something that they address in this draft, that they bring in another guy in that same kind of vein. I know there's the kid from Georgia is, making people look stupid in these, the offseason right now leading up to this draft. But to me, I think the guy that has to take the biggest leap forward in this offense has got to be the guy that stirs the drink, and that's got to be Hurts.
Yeah.
I think you simplify it by making it less complicated. And I think that it's been a lot of stuff that's come out about, some of the way that players got treated in the locker room, and how, there are little different strokes for different folks, where, some people caught the tail end of some criticism and other players didn't. And I think bringing somebody in from an outside perspective is going to give him more of an opportunity to get himself on more accountability. And I think that in this offense, the motion, I think, Rich, you're spot on when you say, like, Devontae Smith, you might see like his something similar to his last year at Alabama, when he was really able to they utilized that motion to really get him in space and utilize the speed and the athleticism and the route tree to be able to really, see how much of a weapon that dude is, because he can just light it up. And I really think you're going to see a 1A and a 1B, and it really truly could be week to week. But I think Hurts for me has got to be the guy that, because without him stirring the drink, you can have all the offensive weapons you want. It really, if he looks as bad as he looked in some of those games down the stretch, this team's really only going to go as far, and he's here for the long term. He's not going anywhere. So you're going to have to try to get that figured out. That to me has got to be all right. How about on defense? Who's the guy that takes the biggest leap forward on defense with Vic Fangio?
Who's going to be here?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox. All pro Fletcher Cox.
Well, listen, according to Howie, he's here if he wants. They'll have him back if he wants to be back. I don't know. You kind of have to.
You kind of have to. He was our best defensive lineman last year. So, you're going to let him go? I am hoping it's Jalen Carter. I hope he takes a step forward. But right now, I can't call it who's going to step up, to be honest with you, because I don't know who's going to be here. It's got to be somebody on the defensive line. Sweat's got to be better. Carter's got to be better. Jordan Davis needs to stop fucking eating. Give that man a fucking salad and just call it a day. It's incredible. It's incredible how he's just halfway through the season just turns into a fucking ball of nothing. And it's just like, what the fuck, dude? And then you hear they're turning off the ice cream machine and replacing the whole fucking menu because players are getting fat. Well, that's a product of your fucking stupid culture, you dumb fuck, Nick Sirianni. And now it makes sense when all the stuff coming out. I know I'm jumping topics, but it makes fucking sense with all the shit that's coming out because he don't have a fucking grasp on this team. And I think it's because he's a boob. He's a Howie Roseman boob. He literally is an extension of Jeffy and Howie. And he's just there as a fucking figurehead. He's a show puppet. What other teams have meetings every Tuesdays with their owner and their GM, their head coach? Who the fuck does that? Why do they have so much input when they're not football guys? And why did it take Big Dom to calm down Nick Sirianni? Those reports are absolutely outrageous. And I fucking believe them. I believe those reports. I don't believe the A.J. Brown stuff. I was so happy when A.J. Brown went on WIP and just trashed them. That was phenomenal. Because Ike Reese, like, he's another boob. I was an Eagle. I was a former Eagle. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. You played special teams. Like, stop. And do you even want to act like you're a player, or you want to act like a fucking media boob? So to me, it comes down to hopefully Vic Fangio gets his offensive line right, because somebody has to. I really, after all the reports came out, I have zero faith in Sirianni. I mean, I didn't have faith in him when he first came here, and then talent kind of brought him to where he is. And, like, when it comes to coaching, I don't fucking think the dude can do it.
It seems as though you're seeing an exposed version. It really does. Yeah. That, is he more of a product of his environment with the talent that he had around him? And the press conference after they announced the two new coordinators was very, very telling. When I can't remember who the reporter was, but he basically was like, "All right, so Nick, what do you do here? Like, what is your job?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm the CEO. I'm the guy that, I'm going to pop into an offensive meeting. I'm going to pop into a defensive meeting." And it's like, okay, great. Like, then what really, like, if your role is to just kind of oversee everything, well, then what do you do? What really is your role? Because if Kellen Moore
isn't that what the general manager does?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
So you have a bunch of coordinators and literally a GM and an assistant GM and Nick Sirianni. That's exactly what you're telling me. It just doesn't sound good. Like, none of it makes sense nor sounds good. But that's Philadelphia, though. Like, nothing ever fucking makes sense in this town. We try to rationalize it.
We couldn't do it any other way.
We're just too smart for it. That's really what happens.
Yeah,
listen, we're just not dumb.
Joe, who's the guy for you? Who's the guy on defense that's got to take a leap forward with this new? All things considered, I mean, we don't know who the.
What's up, Chris?
We don't know free agents, right? We don't know we don't know the moving parts about who they're going to draft, who they're going to bring in, and this conversation could feel very, very different in August, over the summer.
Could feel different in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you're right.
If Patrick McQueen ends up here, that
right?
would be
that would cost my.
if they're making moves for L'Jarius Sneed, right? If they're the defense, I think on the overall has the most opportunity to have the most moving parts. I think the most alarming thing to me that I've heard this week coming out of the combine was the conversation about James Bradbury. And the fact that he's in the conversation to play, that to me was like the biggest red flag, because I'm looking at that going, all right, that's a position where guys just don't come back from.
Yeah.
When that ball starts to roll down the hill, that one ain't coming back. Defensive backs in their they do not get better with age.
Right. Yeah, that was the guy that I was going to talk about was Bradbury. That whole discussion with them about, they made it seem like he's going to be part of the mix, and that's I mean, he wasn't. There was so many stretches during the season last year where he was just unplayable. He couldn't cover me. He couldn't cover any of us. It's and to trot him out there as your starter, that's a really bad situation. That's, like you said, it's only going to snowball and get worse. But what do you do with him? I mean, his contract, I don't know if you can finagle your way out of it.
There's a lot of dead money there.
Yeah. So you're I mean, with that cap and that money, it's like you're almost forced to play the guy, which is just a really bad situation. It's a really bad situation.
It's extremely fun.
It is. And, what are they going to do with these draft picks? They need to go secondary. They need to go linebacker, but it's the Eagles. Are they going to do that?
No.
Look at the guys you lost. Look at TJ Edwards. Look at CJ Gardner-Johnson. you chose not to pay these guys, and look at how well they performed on these other teams. Those just two names that I could think of that really killed this defense for this season.
Oh, absolutely. No, like to me, it's not just one guy. I think there's a group of guys that could be highlighted and really kind of have their roles elevated in a new offense or a new defense. And I think it's that young group of DBs that we constantly talk about, that they've brought in over the course of the last couple of years in these drafts, that you're now looking for opportunities to get those young DBs that are on your roster already. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if these first handful of picks, if they double up, similar to the year when they draft Lito Shepherd, right? That they bring in that draft, they bring in multiple DBs. I think you see them see the importance of not being the time where you can pass on positions and just kind of fill in with that revolving door. I think that's that seeing that in the safety position, seeing that in the linebacker position, really to me just highlights how important it is that when you're in a position where you give these big time contracts, and you're going to have guys that are going to come up that are going to want to get paid too, right? That Landon Dickerson extension has got to be coming up soon. The Devontae Smith extension, because he's a first round pick, they can, they can buy into that 5th year and extend his deal another year. But that extension's coming too. It's only going to highlight the more importance of drafting really well. So to me, you got to hit on these early picks. You have to address linebacker and safety. You have to address DB, because you don't have any other option, right? But you're also going to need to know, what do you have on your roster? So I'm looking at that young group of DBs that we saw get a lot of time late in the year when guys were getting injured. But I think Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship are not the answers on the back end of this defense. James Bradbury and Darius Slay are not the answers moving forward. I'm more apt to let Slay play than I am Bradbury. But neither one of them are getting younger. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's a position that they address early in a draft, or they address aggressively in free agency, because they're going to have the opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just looking at this whole situation too, and the whole other topic that's been on and off for a while now with Hassan Reddick. What's really happening? What's going on behind the scenes? Where are we in all of this? It'd be nice to get some good draft picks, but he was your most productive defender over the last 2 seasons. Yeah, he's pushing 30, but you know what? All the guy does is produce and go get after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. I think his numbers maybe dipped a little bit. Maybe because you got a guy like Matt Patricia who's dropping him back into coverage, so he's probably like, what the fuck is this? So you got to figure out what the plan is with that. What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? But if he's not on this team next year, then you have a huge hole to fill at that position. And then it's, are you going to bring a free agent in and pay a free agent, or are you going to cross your fingers and hope you draft, his replacement? Nolan Smith, who knows? But I don't know. That's a lot to ask, to just say, all right, well, we got Nolan Smith. Let's just plug him in there.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, like, I don't understand why people are freaking the fuck out, like, over the cap, because the cap is growing exponentially. In 5 years, the cap is going to be huge. And people are like, well, Jalen Hurts' contract, it's going to hurt the Eagles. When? It's going to look relatively, like, fucking pennies on the dollar in 3 to 4 years. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? You sign these guys now, and in 5 years, the cap's going to be fucking through the roof. So it doesn't matter. Do you sign Hassan Reddick and extend them? You see. Can I get 2 for 35 out of you, bud? Like, can we get that? Hey, and if you can extend him for another 2 years, cool. If you can't, and there's a guy like Burns from Carolina out there, and he costs 25 and Reddick costs 20, well, guess who I'm taking?
The younger guy.
I'm going to take the younger guy. I'm not like too worried about it. Like, okay, he wants an extension. Cool, dude. Like, we'll give you 1 year, $18 million. And that'll be your extension. And we'll guarantee some and push it off. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Sign the dude. You need him. He was your pass rush. Him and Fletcher Cox were your 2 best defensive linemen. Sign them. Bring them back. Bring Fletcher Cox back. You need them. And then you have to still address and worry about the fucking linebacker position because we don't have any on our roster right now.
Well, and, this is a guy whose name has come up a lot.
That's who we all want.
It truly is. It truly it fits an insanely large need. The ties back to his dad and the player that he was. I think to me it would be a no-brainer. It's more a matter of when do you decide and where does he go, right? Because although the Eagles don't value that position and won't address it, I guarantee you they won't address it in the first round. That to me would be a guy that you would, for all intents and purposes, would be a plug and play guy. That's a guy that you would look to just draft and plug him right into the middle of your defense. But to me, that's a guy that if there's mutual respect there, and it seems like there is, then when do you choose to address that? Do you address that with one of your 2 second-round picks? Maybe. There are lucky for the Eagles though. This is a deeper position in the draft, where if it's not him, I know there's a kid out of Texas A&M that is kind of shining real bright right now at the combine. And the tape, I think the tape to me is the more important thing to look at. There's only so much that you can glean from, watching these guys run around in shorts and t-shirts. And both of them, you put the tape on and both of the dudes are running sideline to sideline. They both have the size and the athleticism to kind of stand in the middle of the defense. To me, that would be a no-brainer. But we also know that this team will not address that position in the first round because they don't value that position that much to put that much draft capital.
So dumb. Look at the fucking best teams best defenses in the league. Look at San Fran's defense. Who do you have right in the middle? You have fucking Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. Good fucking luck. Those guys tackle and fucking hit and intercept and can fucking cover. Look at, now we move over to Baltimore, who also had a fucking stellar defense. Roquan Smith and Patrick McQueen. Is that telling you anything? That 2 fucking stud linebackers can fucking do it for you?
Yeah. And Rich, we're over here drafting guys like Davion Taylor.
Yeah, fucking Davion Taylor because he's fucking quick. Bullshit. That's why I don't like Davion Taylor because he's not fucking
He can't
Fred
even
Warner.
play special teams.
Jesus.
Well, we take him in the 3rd round because he's quick.
Oh, yeah.
Not his fault. Not his fault. But hey, it's so frustrating because we should be fucking drafting these guys.
Nate Jerry.
Nate Jerry.
Listen, that's a whole fucking nother episode, man. That's a whole nother commisery of bullshit that I don't think
just go down the list of terrible linebackers we've had over the years.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh God.
I hope they really listen to Vic Fangio and they're like really have him
he runs the 3-4. They have to listen. They have to get linebackers. That's what his defense is built on.
I hope so, because Howie and Jeff are in on who plays, player personnel, who's dressed for today. They need to just let the guy do his job. That's it. That's the bottom line. You got to let the guy do his job. Both of them, more in Fangio. I really hope you really hope that Sirianni stays out of the way. It's going to be key for him to stay out of the way.
That's Joe. That's a kind of a wild thing to say about the head coach.
But the head coach,
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look.
Basically, they hired a bunch of guys for him to say, "Get the fuck out of the way."
Yeah, don't fuck this up.
Mouth shut.
Yeah.
Oh God, run up and down the sideline, say a bunch of stupid shit into the camera, like
Big Dom, don't let Nick talk.
Yeah.
Jesus
Shut
Christ.
your mouth.
Oh fuck! All right, listen. Here's the next topic. Is the Hurts that you're going to get in 24 going to be closer to 23 or closer to 22?
Closer to 22.
I say 22. I say 22.
Could anybody be successful in the offense that we ran this year?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, that offense was kind of set up it was set up to fail at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, toward the end, my favorite thing is we didn't utilize motion at all. So we could never actually see what the defense was doing. So that's pretty funny. It's like, well, we don't know. Are they in zone? Are we in man? But here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to throw the ball to the outside.
No matter what,
you're throwing the ball to the outside. We're going to make you make the hard throws, not the easy ones. Like, it was just so dumb. It was just such a bad offense. If he remotely looks like this year's Jalen Hurts next year, we are fucking doomed. So that's just like, oh God, that's terrible. So I'm going to have to say it's closer to his MVP year than this year.
The news that you do hear out of the locker room and this and that with Brian Johnson and how he was, too much buddy with Hurts. They go back for so many years, and he was more of more of his buddy and a pat on the back guy than this is what you need to do to get better. He didn't have that tough love or have those tough constructive criticism kind of conversations. And then another story I heard too was he was intimidated by AJ Brown. So if you're a coach and you're intimidated by your players, it's going to be a fiasco because you've lost them. There's you could have a trust issue, and then you're second guessing yourself. And then we saw it. We saw it. When we had a 10-1 offense, and then we saw what happened. As the season progressed, things started losing a couple games. They started doing the blame game, and then the stories come out about the coach and the quarterback not being on the same page. The coach, offensive coach, being not on the same page with the receiving corps, and it just snowballed like out of control. And then the offense. Well, the defense too just went right off a cliff. But you have to set the tone. You got to be the tone setter. You have to draw the line between, somebody you like with Johnson and Hurts that have known each other for so long. There's got to be a line in the sand and say, look, we go way back, but I call the plays, and this is the way it's going to be.
Joe, I think to go back to something you were mentioning earlier, the route tree, Rich, it was maybe, 3-4 weeks ago when we were talking about, and we actually had them side by side.
Yeah.
And it was more startling looking at them side by side than it would be just if you and I were having a conversation. Literally, it looks like it's the equivalent of like the straight line and the scribble. Like the Kellen Moore route tree for Keenan Allen and CeeDee Lamb were literally all over the field, like straight down the field, across the field, crossing patterns deep, crossing patterns at the middle level, at the safety level. Meanwhile, the AJ Brown, Devontae Smith route trees are literally like
out.
They crossed over the hash, I think, once each.
it was wild. And I think now looking back at when they lose both coordinators after the Super Bowl, to replace both of those guys when this team is at the precipice that they are, where they should be in the conversation to be a Super Bowl contender every year. Yeah. To replace both of those coordinators with two guys that were as inexperienced as they were, with a coach that was very young into his head coaching career, was a huge mistake. To not replace those guys with guys that had play calling experience, that had in-game experience, maybe as a head coach, to maybe provide a little bit of balance, but to replace those guys with Brian Johnson and Sean Desai that had little to no coaching, coaching experience in terms of the play calling on the field, that ended up being they survived to 10-1 on talent alone, and then everything just caught up with them. There
was no fucking coaching. There was no coaching whatsoever. There was no coaching all year. We had these complaints about them looking vanilla and their defense looking stale. Like week 2.
I think we were talking about that with the New England game.
Like, it's fucking crazy, dude. Like, we've addressed our concerns all year, and it's like, well, why are you guys bitching when your team's 10-1? I'm like, because we're not that good. It's like, we're ass. And AJ Brown even said it. Like, we were 10-1. Yeah, like we found ways to win. We never played like a good complete football. He even said that. He said that on WIP. Yeah. He's like. And then we lose. He's like, things just unravel from there. It's like, that's the true football team that they had. And it all comes down to coaching. Like, it all comes back.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift had 2 carries in that Patriot game. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like,
go away. Go away, boss. You goofball.
How's that even possible?
It's that to me is
possible.
I don't know.
Who knows? Listen, boss lady, Rich, the amount of football conversations that I can now have with the boss lady, it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and it'll catch me off guard, to the point where I'm looking sideways, going, what did you just say? What?
She's not wrong, because we all liked the DB coach from 2 years ago to be the defensive coordinator, and then he left and he shit all over everybody's chest with the Baltimore Ravens defense. I like that. He made the Eagles look dumb by not hiring him.
Yeah.
And Rich, you brought up something a couple weeks ago when you were like, tell me a player that got better. Give me a guy that got better during this season.
No one.
Right.
Yeah. Like, no one.
You either stayed status quo or you got worse.
Or you got worse. That's it. Like, it's fucking amazing to watch a team be so coveted and so, like, I can't even find the words for it. Yeah, poor man on the chat. He did. He all over the Eagles, all over the Eagles front office. He was like, I can coach. Your guy can't. And then you take him away, and then you add Matt Patricia's fat ass in there. He can't coach either. And it's just like, man, that was just dumb. But, like, it was just astonishing to watch these players get worse and not get better when you're still, at the time, 10-1. At 10-1, like, you're not impressed by anybody. You're like, where'd A.J. Brown go? Like, A.J. Brown, like, all of a sudden, like, after those 4 games in a row, like, what the fuck happened to A.J. Brown? And it's like, where's Devontae Smith? Where's DeAndre Swift? What's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Our cornerbacks look terrible. Hassan Reddick, finally got a sack. What the fuck is Josh Sweat doing? It's like, you literally were just, like, dumbfounded the whole fucking time, because none of it made sense that they could just go backwards like that. And they did.
Yeah. It was a collapse of epic proportions, but we all kind of saw it coming. I remember I was telling you guys about the conversations I would have with our bus driver when he was showing up, and and he's asking me, because he's a Cowboys fan, so we're always kind of exchanging barbs back and forth as I hesitate to put the kids on the bus during the Cowboys week because I don't know if they're going to come back with stars on their school bags. But to go back and forth with him, and I'm going, I don't know how it's happening. Like I remember the last time talking about the Bills game, and he's like, I don't know how y'all are doing it. I'm like, I don't know either because it don't look pretty, but it was the biggest false messiah that we've seen out of a team in a really long time.
Yeah, it was not.
It was not good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, on the back end of it, we'll play a commercial. On the back end of this, we'll talk some free agency. We'll talk some draft combine stuff, and I don't know, try to have a little fun with it. We'll see you in a little bit.
Von C. Brewing Company is a 20-barrel, 16,000 square foot microbrewery with a 2,500 square foot tasting room, including a spacious outside beer garden in Norristown, PA, in the heart of Montgomery County. The Von C. family is part of the family that started C. Schmidt and Son Brewing in 1860. Stop in Wednesday through Sunday and taste a variety of draft and 16-ounce cans of originally brewed beer and tell them the Drunk on Broad crew sent you. Von C. Brewing is located at 1210 Stanbridge Street, Suite 300 in Norristown. Cheers.
Team Clicks are the only glasses for real sports fans. With interchangeable arms, you can support all of your favorite teams, or even make and create custom options as well. These die-hard sports fans have realized that sports fans needed something other than face paint to show their love and passion for their teams. Go to teamclicks.com/DOB and show your love for your hometown team.
La Torrent's curated collection of men's and women's watches is a perfect investment that lasts for years to come and fits perfectly with your every outfit and style. Our range of classic watches aren't just a great perfect formal and casual accessory, but a time machine that takes you back to memories. Explore our collection of timeless watches that can reflect your taste, personality, and personal style. Our exclusive collection of carefully curated, affordable luxury watches is what you need to make a personalized style statement. You can take pride in your prized possession, handing it over to the next generations as your most loved asset that they can also own and display with the same pride. These high-quality pieces stand the test of time, giving exceptional value and return on your investment. Go to la-touraine.com and use code DOB at checkout and get 10% off.
If you're looking for unique sports apparel, check out Streaker Sports. They've dug deep into the archives and have brought back some incredible defunct team logos and have even created entire defunct league collections. They also have collections paying homage to sports culture, including the Miracle on Ice, Slap Shot, Caddyshack, the Mighty Ducks, and even have a license with Wiffle Ball and USA Hockey. Only for Drunk on Broad listeners, use code BROAD at checkout to get 10% off anything at streakersports.com. Again, that's 10% off anything at streakersports.com with discount code BROAD.
All right, listen, we're back. But listen, I didn't get a chance to put a little commercial together, but we got a new partner, the Philly Drinkers Apparel. So go check out. They got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of unique merchandise. Use the code Drunk on Broad 15 for your special discount. But they got some cool Philly themed sports gear. So go check them out. They got a cool baseball. They got a cool baseball package. It's a couple t-shirts, hat. It's some really cool stuff.
Fitted green pants, Don.
Fitted green pants.
Fitted green pants.
I don't know if Philly Drinkers has fitted green pants, but
they fucked up, didn't they? Lost a customer, Don. Lost a customer.
They do. They have a lot of really cool stuff. So we'll go check them out. Use the code and support them and support us. And free agency. Who's a guy that you're targeting in terms of free agency? Because there's a lot of places and a lot of positions that you can address, but they Where do you think the most likely hole that they fill?
I need some Van Ginkel in my life. I
like
Van Ginkel. I want anybody familiar with Vic Fangio and the linebackers for the Dolphins. So linebackers for the Dolphins performed extremely well last year. I know their defense was kind of suspect, but I mean, Jalen Ramsey wasn't that great. And then they lost a lot of guys for injury, but Van Ginkel was solid. I'm looking at linebackers just across the board and throwing offers at pretty much all of them. McQueen would be the guy I backed the fucking Brinks truck up to. Then I'm throwing money at Luovu, the dude from Carolina who's a stud, another young guy. Devin White. I know Devin White got replaced last year on Tampa Bay because he was not good at stopping the run. But he's another guy sideline to sideline. He's quick as shit. Don't mind having him. And Van Ginkel. Because let's be real, you can't go into the season with Nakobe Dean and no one. There has to be somebody else. And no offense to Nakobe Dean, love him, can't stay fucking healthy. And I think it's the size and all the injuries. It's going to really come back to bite them in the ass. And if you say you draft Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and you put him next to Patrick McQueen and the Van Ginkel or Luovu, you know, I love that. There's nothing I don't love about any of those combinations.
Yeah, I think that that's the position to me that you obviously have to see the biggest overhaul just because of personnel. You don't have guys to fill that position. So Van Ginkel is a guy that excels in this defense that you saw elevate his play under Vic Fangio last year. To me, he's a guy who's a no-brainer. That's a guy that you bring in, and you kind of let him run sideline to sideline and let him, kind of make tackles all over the field. And if he plays the way that he plays last year, he'll be a guy that this fan base can really wrap their arms around. Patrick Queen, I don't know what that money's going to look like, Rich.
It's going to look expensive.
It's going to be wildly expensive, but you also can't afford to put yourself in a position where you're picking guys up off the scrap heap all year long, literally just to have a guy in the middle of the field. You've read that book, you've watched that movie, you've seen that experiment. You really need to put and allocate some resources in that area. So to me, you need to do a combination of a couple things. You got to sign a couple guys and you got to draft a couple guys, and you really have to build, position depth there. The other guy that I'm looking at is, on the back end, I think bringing in a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr. is a guy that you can let kind of run around in the back of your defense. And he's not old, right? He's 26. So he's a guy who, when you put the tape on, just make game-changing plays all the time. And I think that's a guy that I look at and say, that's a guy that I want on the back end of my defense. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say Winfield Jr. Back there for safety too, and then I guess you got to wait and see what's gonna go on with Jeremy Chin too. He might wiggle free and become available too from Carolina. But I was going to say Xavier Howard from the Dolphins as well. But then then it becomes a money thing at that position, especially with everything that's going on with James Bradbury. But it's safety and linebacker. But linebacker, I mean, the more we talk about it, I think that's got to be the number one priority for this team, because you really don't have anybody right now. You have Nakobe Dean. I guess. I mean, is he healthy? Is he going to be healthy? But even when he was on the field, when he was healthy, he still was very inconsistent.
What about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? That's got to be a guy that I don't know if the relationship is so sour about how it kind of played out but I think that's got to be a guy that's got to be on your radar in terms of the safety play.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about, how he would feel about coming back into this environment. But I mean, all the guy does is play, and he balls out, and he talks it and he walks it. So, and that's what this team needs. This team was soft last year.
Yeah.
This team was very soft. They missed that bravado. They didn't have that bravado last year. I mean, the year that we went to the Super Bowl, he had 6 interceptions by himself. I don't know what we've wound up with the whole season last year, but he balled out with this team. And you need guys that are going to make plays. You need guys that are going to make force turnovers, and you need guys that are going to be in the right position. And ball hawks, get guys that are just going to ball out. So I'd love to have him back. If he'd want to come back here.
Any interest in a guy like Kendall Fuller? Maybe a guy that might be a little bit cheaper, but a guy that I think
an upgrade. I think I mean, with what you have now, I mean, it's an upgrade. Absolutely. I mean, he's a proven vet. He's a proven player who can start and play and make plays, and that's what you're looking for. So, I mean, if it's an upgrade, I'm all in.
Rich, I know there's a guy on offense that you love.
Mike Evans.
There it is.
I would love to have Mike. Oh my God, if we got Mike Evans, that'd be fucking great. But pivoting from him, if we're like talking actual like hopes for a wide receiver 3, I would go Tyler Boyd. Bring him in because he can. He's a slot guy, but you also know if somebody goes down, he can step into that number 2 role. He's proven he can do it. He's proven he did it in Cincinnati. Anytime any of those guys get hurt, he steps right up and has fucking big games. Like Tyler Boyd is definitely a guy I'm going after. If I'm looking at another linebacker, Jordan Brooks, why not? From Seattle, I would take him.
Okay.
I mean, there's just so many people. Like, I'm looking at the list, and there's just so many fucking people out there. Like, cheaper, you can go, Jordan Fuller at safety. He's 26. Jeremy Chin, see what happens with that. Geno Stone, there's
Xavier McKinney's another guy.
Xavier
25.
Xavier McKinney, Kyle Duggar. Like, there's so many safeties out there that you're looking at, and it's just like, this would be great. We need a slot
guys
guy
that are young.
We need a slot corner. We need a guy who can do it. Kenny Moore. He's pretty much the only like slot guy out there, like just playing the slot. And then you're looking at edge rushers. Like edge rushers, why not Zadarius Smith? If you're going to have a blitzing linebacker, why not bring him in, see what he's going to demand? I think your main needs are you need a linebacker, you need safety help. But if you can get one of these wide receivers, I wouldn't be mad either. I would take Curtis Samuel. I would take anybody to step in and be in 3. Marquise Brown. Hollywood's probably going to demand a crap ton of money, which I honestly don't think he deserves. It's going to be interesting to see where they shake from. But yeah, if you give me a Tyler Boyd or you give me a Curtis Samuel, you need a number 3. Last year was terrible with Julio being
right. They were banned.
You can't have that.
What about a guy is a guy like Calvin Ridley going to make way too much money to be in the conversation to be the number 3?
Yep.
I don't think Calvin Ridley is going to get what everybody thinks. I think that Christian Kirk is still probably the number 1 wide receiver. And dude, you saw they love Zay Jones. Like even when Calvin Ridley was the legit number 1, they were feeding Zay Jones. Like they were feeding everybody else besides Calvin Ridley. And let's be real. If they do sign Calvin Ridley, there's no incentive for the Jaguars to actually sign Calvin Ridley to a big deal, because if they sign him to a long-term deal, they have to give up like a 1 or a 2. So they're not going to do it. They're going to be like, thank you for the year, Calvin. Like he's not going to want to do a 1-year deal. So he's going to go somewhere else. Is he going to try to demand a lot? Yeah, but I don't think he's really going to get it. Like, to me, honestly, if it's you're throwing me Calvin Ridley or Tyler Boyd, I'd want Tyler Boyd.
Okay.
I just like Tyler Boyd's skill set a little bit better than Calvin Ridley's. I think Calvin Ridley's a hell of a player. I think he's fucking really good. But if I can get similar production out of Tyler Boyd for less money, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a guy who's younger, more athletic, and is going to be significantly cheaper. The only way you might get a discount with Calvin Ridley is with age, right? He's a guy who's 29 that, like, you know, he could be in the conversation to get good money, but he's definitely not in the conversation to get like number one type money, though.
He's not, because I don't think he's a wide receiver one. I don't.
What do you have a free agent wide receiver list in front of you?
I'm scrolling through like the NFL, the top 100 on the NFL. Like another guy that popped up is Gabe Davis, right? Gabe Davis is
he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to get
a ton of money.
Yep.
Trying to go down the list here.
Darnell Mooney. I would kick the tires on Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
He's better than he is. He's better than Watkins. Absolutely. I mean,
they're all better than fucking Watkins.
Is Julio Jones going to even keep playing? I mean, but he would be a 4 anyway. I mean, and he's replaceable. So
I mean, if we're being honest, the club of people that's better than Quez Watkins is not a super exclusive club.
No.
Yeah, like KJ Osborne is another guy that
still more productive than what we have.
Yeah. What do you think happens for them at running back? Do you think they bring back Swift? Is that it's something I would have interest in? Because I think
who
you could be in a position Agent Zero. I think you could see him get utilized a lot better in this Kellen Moore offense.
Yeah.
Or is there another guy that you think that you could bring in that would be an upgrade?
Derrick Henry.
I mean, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to come down to they don't pay backs, Rich. You know that.
Oh, I know. I just like looking and seeing.
In a perfect world, Derrick Henry would be in an Eagle jersey right now.
It would be Derrick Henry for me and Swift if I was doing it, and I would be letting go of Gainwell. I'd be letting go of Gainwell. Boston Scott would just be my kick returner.
Draft a guy.
Yeah, or you draft a guy. But like, I mean, Derrick Henry behind this offensive line would be ridiculous, and he's shown that he can catch. So, I mean, that's a little bit crazy.
The other crazy thing to think about the player that is good to fantasize about with this offensive line is Saquon Barkley, right? You know that you put a guy like him that has the skill set that he does and put him behind this offensive line.
And stick it to the Giants.
Bring him home, let him play. Oh, that would be.
Where did they say he was going to go? They said Saquon was talking to somebody.
Houston.
That would be nuts.
Houston is, which you put him with CJ Stroud and that would be another kind of wild thing to think about.
I would love to see that.
I got no interest in Tony Pollard.
No.
Nah, I'm all right.
Not you're talking about a guy who just had his best year, but had over 200 touches and is about to turn 28.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody? Any other position? Any other place where you think you want to address that we didn't talk about?
Like I said, Burns from Carolina. I mean, fucking Christ, Chris Jones that's just a fantasy. Chris Jones would be amazing. That'd be great. Kareem Hunt, absolutely not. He was so inefficient last year, and they rode Jerome Ford down to the 1, and Kareem Hunt would score the touchdowns. Like, Kareem Hunt was so inefficient. I don't want him. Like, if I'm signing a running back, it's Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, or DeAndre Swift. That's it. I'm not signing like anybody else. Josh Jacobs would be fucking perfect for this offense because he can do it all. DeAndre Swift, again, it's like just utilizing the players. If they're utilized right, then
the right way.
But I think we walk away with at least 2 linebackers and a wide receiver. I think that's what we at least walk away with. And I would be extremely happy because that's honestly it's what we need.
You got any interest in bringing back another former Eagles son?
Who?
John Runyon's kid.
The offensive line?
He's a guard.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
I think, yeah.
Michigan, right?
Yeah, listen, huge kid, same body type.
I don't give a fuck what you think.
But I think at what point do you think the Kelsey news comes down sooner than later? I think it's got to come down before the new league year starts, so that they do have an actual plan about what to do. That if they
I don't think he's retiring. I don't think he's retiring.
Joe?
It's so hard. I mean, the thing about it is he's still playing at a Pro Bowl,
all pro, like best in the game.
He hasn't missed a beat. He's like, he runs and drives the tush push. Dude, you can't go, Jason. You got to be able to do the tush push. You can't go.
You can't go out like that, bro.
We need you. We need you. Like we need air.
Dude, you just can't go out like that. It was terrible. Like the way the season ended was terrible. If that's how we're retiring, if we're retiring at a low, nah, bro. Like I'm sorry. I don't quit.
I think he does one more year. I think he does one more year because that's how BG's doing it. BG's doing this is like his farewell year. I think Kelsey's going to do the same thing.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
He needs to announce I'm retiring at the end of this year.
I think Fletch is on the fence too, but once he sees that fall in line, I think he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm completely fine with it. I didn't want him back, but I'm glad he was. Like shit, Josh Sweat looked fucking terrible last year.
Yeah, what was that? What happened?
Terrible.
But you know what? I think it was a lot of.
It's all the coaching, bro.
It is. These guys checked out. Look at Kevin Byard. He's back there doing his own thing back there in the secondary. And it was just a shit show. It was a free for all. These guys are just doing they're ad-libbing plays.
It was backyard football, but not telling your teammates what you're doing. It's like, all right, break, and everybody's like, oh, we should have told them this. I'm playing zone. Well, I should have told them I was playing man. I should have told them I was going to blitz. I should have told them I wasn't going to cover anybody.
I think that when they blitz us, we should not have a hot route and everybody just run to the sideline and wait like 4 or 5 seconds and I'll try to throw you the ball.
Yeah, or just run straight.
But after the first second and a half, I'm getting clobbered because the guy's running at me without being blocked.
Jesus Christ. Well, listen, gentlemen, before we do final thoughts, I'm going to give you some homework. The next time we talk, we're going to talk. We'll try to talk all things draft. At that point, all the Senior Bowl stuff will be done. The combine stuff will be done. We won't have to worry about anything but trying to figure out guys in the draft that could potentially help this team. So that'll be. We'll hold all things draft until next time. But what do we got? Final thoughts.
Go ahead, Joe.
Everybody start taking care of your health. With things that have been going on with our family, I mean, I'm only in my 40s. You guys are young and spry like me, but it really makes you think about, self-care, especially, guys and girls, but especially us guys, we tend to push things off, or, try to act tough, or act like, I'll deal with it. It's just, we need to just start taking the initiative and being on top of this kind of stuff. Going to your doctor's appointments, getting your colonoscopies, whatever, how old you are. It starts at 45. I got to get mine. My doctor told me I already got to get mine. So it's being proactive, staying on top of things, and just being in that mindset that started earlier, don't wait till later, because you really never know. Tomorrow's not promised. So take care of yourselves and check in on your friends and family, and try to drive that home with them as well too.
Well said.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you, Joe. I think.
Well, Don, look at you, man.
Yeah,
listen, when's your calendar come out?
You skinny motherfucker.
Listen,
about to drive to Don's house, pay him a visit with a cheeseburger.
Woo!
Meet this man, boss lady.
I got friends at school that are they're giving me a hard time, telling me not to turn sideways. I think I'm going to disappear.
That's good, man. That's great.
How
does that make you feel, though?
Yeah, for real. I feel like this is the best I felt in literally as long as I can remember. And this is something that I've struggled with weight gain, weight loss my entire life. Putting it on. I did the freshman 15 three times in the same year, and took it all off in the summer and put it all back on, and I know that that's really the most unhealthiest way to go. And for me, I'm just looking at I saw a picture, and that was it. I saw it, and I was like, I literally turned the lights. I showed her the picture. I was like, is that really what it looks like? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm done. And just
fucking him out.
but like just trying to be realistic with it, right? Like not doing anything drastic. That's why Lacey and I, we were doing it together, which is another huge thing. She's on a similar type of journey. She's down 30 pounds, and she's really trying to really take. We're Joe. You're right. We're at a point in our lives where we're like, all right, let's cut the shit. Let's take care of ourselves, because we want to be in the best position possible to be there to help each other. So to be on that journey together with her, and to be able to kind of do that and support each other and kind of go back and forth is a huge thing. And I would say that could go for anything, right? To be there, to be there and support your significant other, and to look at that and see like that's it. It's a huge thing for the both of us. And now the both of us are, in brand new wardrobes because nothing fits now. But it's a great, as you said, it's a great feeling, and it feels great. And
awesome.
It really does make you think about less about like the getting up early and trying to, plan the meals and take care of the exercise and do all the physical activity. And it makes all that stuff worth it, because you're seeing you're seeing the benefits.
You're right. And other people see it, and that reinforces it. So it's good for you, dude. Good for you.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Beautiful.
What do you got, brother?
One beautiful son of a bitch, Don. One beautiful son of a bitch.
God,
dude, these things are great. The THC seltzers, they're just so good. They're just so good. Cycling Frog, holler at me, dog. Like, get sign me up, bud. I mean, you guys were spot on. Take care of yourself, and Don's on his journey, and it's one of those things like he hit life and different doors open and different doors close. So don't be afraid of those journeys. Kind of welcome them with open arms and excitement, and don't be afraid. when different doors and things open. You know, you don't know what people are going through. And just shit, life gets crazy sometimes. So, you know, enjoy the ride because it's not long. It's unpleasantly short for most people. And have fun with it, man. Like, just fucking have fun. But take care of yourself. Like, having fun doesn't mean getting fucking wasted and drinking 30 beers a night. Like, that's not fun. Like, hanging out with your friends and enjoying time with, you know, significant others or your increasingly aging loved ones. Like, that's the make the memories, have the fun. Me and my dad just went and saw 311 for the 20th time in February. And then I got the flu the whole week after that. So that shit sucked. Thank God we didn't do a show. But would I give it all back? No, because I had a fucking blast. And, you know, 20 times seeing a concert with, you know, one of your favorite people. You know, not a lot of people can say they did that. But like I said, enjoy the fucking ride. Spend the money while you got it, because you can't take it with you. And just have some fucking fun, man. Have some fun. And drink some THC seltzers by Cycling.
I wish I could. I wish I could, Rich. I wish I could.
You know, Joe, I'm not gonna lie, like kind of on like Don's journey, and not to like say like I'm down like 7 pounds, but I eat like shit.
Nice.
But my main thing was like drinking beer all the time. I loved drinking beer, and like stopping that and like switching to these. It's like 50 calories. You get like a nice like body buzz, and then you're done. Like, I'm gonna drink this one, and I'm like, I'm good. Like, beer I used to crave and just want to drink, and it's just like I needed it. Like, not drinking and just like kind of like going toward that, it just doesn't only make you feel better. You don't wake up hungover, and like I'm not fucking drinking 30 of them because I'm chasing like a buzz. Like, it's fucking alcohol fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie, alcohol fucking sucks. It is not good for you. Stay away from it. It is not good.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.
Rich, take us home.
Oh man, I had a daydream in my kitchen when I was cooking about fuck you, Spike Eskin. I got in a fight with Spike Eskin in New York because this was all a daydream in my head. I'm standing over the pot, I'm like over the dish, and I'm like, oh god, I'm cooking. It was a really weird dream. But fuck you, Spike Eskin. Fuck you, Ben Simmons. Davion Taylor, go fuck yourself. Deshaun Watson, fuck you too. Ben Simmons, you got to go fuck yourself. James Harden, and your stupid beard, go fuck yourself. And I think I'm out of fucks to give after that. So I think that's enough.
All right.
But we are drunk on bro. I'm Rich. That's Don, and that's Joe. It's great to have you back, Joe. Don, always pleasure to see you. And Philly, just remember, we love you. Peace.
Yeah. Later,
go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.